Hello everyone and welcome to a presentation of precision farming. So I am intending to make an in-depth look into the precision farming 3.0 that just dropped today with 1.8 update on the farming simulator. So one thing that we got with the 1.8 update is this beautiful case tractor. Let me just quickly show it to you in the store. It's right here, Farmo C series. So we at last have some small case tractors, which I desperately missed until now. And there is another tractor that I found. There are probably more machines, but this one is also the one that stands out. It's a Fiat Agri 16090 Turbo DT. So I'm going to use both machines today to showcase the mod of precision farming. But first of all, let's get this moving. So, precision farming. This is one of the things that I waited eagerly to come to Farming Simulator, and let's have a look at it. So, if you go into your map view, you can actually see now that there are some tram lines in the fields. So just to let you know, this is a completely new map. I haven't done anything. I simply loaded it up with the precision farming mod enabled, and this is how it loaded in. So if you go into map view and you go all the way to the last point, you get the precision farming screen. Now, first thing that you get here are a bunch of numbers, and if you put your mouse over them, you can actually see the score. The score is basically halfway, so neutral. And this score actually has an impact on your crops. So if that score goes lower than 50% or lower than 50 points, your crops will sell for lower amount of money, which means that if you sell something for $1,000, you will receive $1,000 and you will get deducted by a certain amount of money if your environmental score is bad. On the other hand, if your environmental score is good, so higher than 50, then you will get some more additional money to that $1,000 that you earned. And if you put your mouse over this screen, it actually shows you the overall. So the score is a sum of score of all of your fields. And as you can see, we have nitrogen value score, we have pH value, we have weed control, we have soil sampling, and we have tillage. So how this works? Basically, precision farming's main idea is that you don't use too much or too little of ingredients that you put in the ground. For example, when precision farming was not a thing, people just kind of winged it and put a certain amount of nitrogen in the ground, and it was usually too much. And that slowly gets into the water supply that's underground, and it poisons the water supply, and it can take down the whole ecosystems. The perfect nitrogen value is actually the nitrogen value that the crop needs. So that's the first thing that you have to be wary of. So wheat, for example, needs a different amount of nitrogen in the ground than corn, and so on. So you have to put the amount of nitrogen that is the same as the crop demands. Because if you have just the right amount of nitrogen in the ground, the crop will use it up, and that will not go into the water supply, and it will not linger in the ground and destroy the ecosystem. That's the first thing. pH value, that's basically acidity of the soil, which again depends on different crops, how it needs to be. And weed control, you can do chemical weeding, which is again not good for the environment. You can do mechanical weeding, which will put your environmental score higher up. or you can do weeding by certain machines. For example, this John Deere sprayer that comes with precision farming, and there's also another machine, and it's a slurry tanker right here. Yeah, precision farming mod. So you get this slurry tanker that also has a sensor on top, and it delivers just the right amount of nitrogen, and it also measures the amount of nitrogen in the slurry that you're spreading. Okay, back to the screen. Soil sampling, this is how often you take samples of your fields. I'll show you this in a minute. And tillage, basically plowing and deep tillage is not encouraged, and it will lower your environmental score. If you do shallow tillage, like maybe just a harrow or a disc rake, you're gonna get a higher tillage score. So that's basically the first thing you need to know. I'll now go and take a few soil samples. To do that, you need to get the Iceria soil sample. I think this is a Japanese company, and it's this machine right here. Iceria Scout, yeah. I'll show you how it works, and there is another way. If you don't want to do it manually, you can do it through the map. Right, so I have driven up to the farm, and this is the first field that I came across. I'm simply gonna show you how it's done here. Now, of course, you need to unfold the machine. Looks like this. And as you can see on the bottom, let me go out and I can show you a bit better, it has 3 cups. And these are the soil sample cups that the soil is going to be dropped into. And the soil will then be sent, quote-unquote, to a lab that will test the actual soil sample and show you exactly what kind of soil you have, what kind of nitrogen amount is in there, and pH level and all that jazz. So, if you pay attention to the mini-map, let me see if I can make it bigger. Okay, it doesn't work if it's bigger. Yeah, when you unfold your Iceria Scout, you actually get this green circle that is the work area of the soil sampling unit. So if I want to take samples of this field, I can do it like this. So position myself to cover as much field as I possibly can, and press, so lower the tool and press your action button, and the soil will get taken. And okay, the field is now colored in brown. So if we have another look, we can see that 1 cup is now full of soil and the sample has been taken. So to do the whole field, you then have to go move yourself to another part of the field and repeat the process until the whole field is covered in that brown color. This here is the perfect spot. So action button and the sample gets taken. If you pay attention, you can see that I have left just a tiny bit of field unsampled, and I'm gonna leave it on purpose so you can see the difference, or if that also gets sampled or not. You can take samples of multiple fields. There are no limitations to that, so I can simply move out and do this one, for example. And it's going to function in exactly the same way as before. So this is going to be the third sample, and as far as I know, you can take as many samples as you actually want. There is no limit to it. But yeah, you probably want to make sure that your fields are completely covered. And this is it. So field 29, that's that field over there. It's not on our property, but nevertheless it still gets its soil sample taken. Right, so I have folded this up. So if you open your tooltip menu, you can see that we have collected 4 soil samples. That is the bottom row. And almost at the top is the third one from the top. It says send soil samples for analysis. So press Z. Soil samples are now sent to a laboratory for analysis. You will see the results on the soil types maps soon. Alright. Bear in mind that the soil samples you are payable, so you get charged for each soil sample that you sent. I think it's $100 per sample, or at least it was in FS22. So you just have to wait for a little bit of time and everything is going to be sorted out, and then the information is going to be shown in this menu. But right now you can see soil samples taken. They have been taken here, and it's also just a little bit in field 29 that we don't really own. Right. So we get charged $200 for 4 soil samples, which means that one soil sample is $50 to analyze. And now we have our soil composition, which means field 27, if we look at it, it has the soil sample all the way to the top. And field 28 also has this bar all the way to the top. And if you pay attention, our environmental score went up by 4 points. And the soil sampling is all the way to 11.2. And this is for the whole farm. Now, what do these colors mean? Sandy loam, this is one type. You can see we have this whole field 28 is in sandy loam, and the whole field, a little bit of field 27 is in sandy loam. The rest of the field 27 is in loam. Why is this important? Because different soil types give different amounts of added or reduced harvest yield. Okay, so that means that if you have the right crop on the right soil type, you have to provide less of nitrogen, for example, and the crop will grow much better and it will give a lot more yield than if you put it in the quote-unquote wrong soil type. Okay, so if I don't want to do this process with manual soil sampling in field number 30, for example, I can simply click on it. And it sadly already says that it has 100% sandy loam. This information is important if you, for example, want to buy or purchase a field. You can see that it's 55% slit clay, 24% sandy loam, and 90% loamy sand. And expected yield potential is 88%, which means it's about 12% lower than it would be if the soil type was different. So let's see. For example, this field number 29 has a different soil distribution. Loamy sand only 16%, sandy loam 48%, and slit clay 35%. And it has only 8% lower yield, expected yield. Let's find a field that has better. Okay, so for another example, sandy loam 80%, loam 16%, and slit clay 3%. Will give you 2% boost on your yield straight out. So you don't have to do much and the yield gets boosted. And this one that's almost half sandy loam and almost half loam will give you 11% boost on yield. So just so you completely understand the numbers and what they mean. Okay, as I've said, if I don't really want to take samples manually, I can always purchase soil samples. It will take 2 of them, so it will charge, and $75 is the service provider. So this is basically what you pay to the contractor to do the job for you. And if we send it, we get the results immediately. And this one is all the way sandy loam, so it has 100% expected yield. And let's do again here. Again, the exact same soil composition. On the fields that you don't own, you can't really buy this information, so there's no use of doing it. As you can now see, our overall farm score for soil sampling is 14.9, which is basically top score. 15 is the top amount. And our environmental score went up by another 3 points. So that's the first thing, it's the soil types. Another thing is the pH level of the ground. Now, pH is regulated by adding lime to the soil. And different types of soil need different amounts of pH to be in the perfect setting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter this tractor and I'm going to get some kind of spreader. Let's go find fertilizer spreader. Where are they? Here. And it doesn't really matter which one you choose, so I'll just go with one that takes lime. Let's go with the basic game one. And I will show you in a bit what actually happens when you take this spreader over the soil, over the ground, over the field, and how it actually behaves. While we're on the way to the field, I have changed the spreader because that Amazon one doesn't support lime. But I gotta say, I so love this tractor and the sound, listen to it. Yeah, it's a beautiful machine. There is some charm to these old tractors. Right. In any case, while we are on the way to the field, pay attention to the left upper corner where you will see pH value / or dash lime application, and it has no values detected yet. Also, the application rate is 0. What Precision Farming Mod does is actually it regulates your rate of spreading, for example, lime, so it matches the soil that's underneath, which means that it will empty out the trailer faster on certain types of soil and it will last longer on different types of soil. Yeah, such a beautiful. Let's hear the horn. Nah. The horn is a bit of a disappointment. Come on, you can do it, Fiat. Made it up the hill, eventually. Alright, so drive into the field, and now you can see increasing pH to optimal value for loam 6.75, which means the current is 6.125 and the goal is 6.75. So you can start your machine, you can start spreading. Oh, that's a wide spread. And it will show you the exact application rate, 4.38 tons per hectare, for example. You can also set it manually, so you adjust it by hand. But I usually leave it on auto because it would be very, very difficult to do it manually. And as you can see, the mini-map on the left is changing. And here is the application rate was a bit smaller, and now back again. And we have the whole field done. I'm not sure if I did anything wrong. I don't think so. You can deactivate automatic application rate. You can see on the top you can change working with. That was here previously, but yeah, that's mainly it. So the pH level of the ground is now set for optimal operation. Now let's go and do the other field. We're gonna focus on these two for now, so... Yeah, right, I should move the tractor out of the way, shouldn't I? Okay, and again, the minimap shows. And now I'm spreading and changing the color of the soil. Okay, so this was now all about the pH level of the soil and the ground. We have taken care of this. And the next step is gonna be, we need to plant something in the ground. So if we go back into the precision farming menu, you can see the pH has been drastically changed. I don't know why, but it went to 7.25, even though the goal was this one. So this field is pretty good, and this one not so much. Maybe because it's a mod that I used to spread lime. Okay, the next step is nitrogen level. Now you can adjust nitrogen before you put seeds in the ground, but I recommend you do it after you put seeds in the ground. And this is the expected yield, or not actually expected, but this is the actual yield you get off the field. This is another map, but let's focus on seed rate. Now, we have low, standard, and high seed rate. If you go into the menu, you can actually go into help and change it to precision farming, and you have all these information here that you would need. But variable seed rate, it depends on the type of soil that's in the ground. So for wheat, for example, loamy sand will use a lot of seed, sandy loam standard, and loam will use low amount of seed, slate clay high amount. And you have this spreadsheet for a few of the crops, the main one. The others basically behave similar to the closest crop to it. So for example, if we don't really have root crops here. I don't know why. Maybe it will get added. But yeah, root crops probably don't need this. Right. So let's go get the seeder. I'm back at the field with a seeder full of canola seeds. And on the left side in the menu you can see the variable seed rate applicator. So when I go over the field, it should show the exact amount of seed that I need to put in the ground. This. So as you can see, it's in the middle. 52 seeds per cubic meter. Okay, so this is one consumption. And when I change to the other side of the field, because remember this one is in sandy loam, and now I'm gonna change to loam, it should be different, if I remember correctly. Don't worry, I'll do the whole field off screen. Let's see. As you can see, it went down to 39 seeds, 35 seeds per square meter. So this is how the seed rate is impacted by the soil type that's underneath. In any case, I'll make this happen. And we'll see you on the other side. Right, there is another thing that I wanted to show you and I completely missed. Just under variable seed rate you can see no tram lines defined. This is a completely new feature for the... Let me shut this off, it's screaming in my face. This is a completely new feature for Precision Farming 3.0. And if you go into the menu and select your field, you then have tram lines. And then you set the distance between the tram lines that are automatically created during seeding. Set this to the width of your sprayer. Okay, now I don't really know what kind of a sprayer I'll have, so let's go check. Sprayers are here. Let's go with, let's say, Kverneland. 18 meter. Do I have anything smaller? 21 meter. No, I have only huge ones. Okay, let's go with 18 meter. So, again, back into the map. Click on the field, tram lines, 18, and OK. Alright, so the tram lines should be set. You can see under the variable seed rate, it says tram lines 18 meter. And of course, when you go off the field, the tram lines are no longer defined. I wonder how this will work. Will it show? It should probably show as an unseeded area. Okay, I know I'm messing up the actual seeding process, but never mind that. It's for science. In any case, I'll tag back in when this is done. While we wait for that field to be seeded, let's take a look at the yield map. So, I'm gonna purchase this field number 29. And as you can see, we don't have really any soil information other than this. The potential is minus 8%. Let's go purchase soil samples. Can we not? Oh, I'm in the wrong map. Right, so this field is actually 3 different colors, 3 different soil types, and it should give us 3 different yields. So possibly this will give us a bit more than 100%, and this will give us a bit less. So let's dig in, and this is another aerial view of the tram lines, which I think it's a beautiful feature. Okay, in the uppermost corner on the left side you can see the yield, and I am guessing it will change regarding different soil types. So on this side we have 2.8 tons per hectare, and it says 83%. This is probably because it wasn't fertilized, it hadn't had any lime spread, so it's probably the soil is in its worst condition. Let's check. I don't want to be yeah, you can see the pH is quite low. Nitrogen is terrible, and as you can also see, where we have already harvested, the nitrogen is even worse. Now you can kind of sort this out if you put the harvester into not into swath mode, but into chop mode. So let's check the difference with that. So the idea is that the biological material is getting spread back onto the ground. So there is a bit of nitrogen retained in the soil. You might see that we have 73%, 71. This is probably because of the different soil type. 69, yeah, it's dropping. So again, if I stop and if we check the map, you can see it was 83 here, it was 70 something here, and it was a bit less than 70 over here. So this really has a big impact on what, oh, another thing, yeah, the nitrogen map. Yeah, you can see it's darker here, and it gets a bit lighter here where we started putting chopped straw back onto the ground. And I don't know if you can see this, but there is just a tiny little shade here of darker, because if you look at the field, we actually haven't spread any chopped straw here. This is it, for example. It's naked soil, so to speak. There is another menu. As you can see in the field info, it says pH value OK. It's 5.5 out of 6, and nitrogen is OK, 25 out of 80, which I would definitely say is not okay. Okay, so, and if you pay attention to the left corner again, left upper corner, the yield should go up. It's now 70, 71, 73, so it's rising, and it should go back up to 80 something on this side of the field. So it actually really gives a lot of, how should I say, realism, because 87, look at that, very nice. It gives a lot of realism because in the base game you have the whole field has one yield. It's perfect unless you messed up something, you know, but the whole field is perfect. There's nothing to do. It's, you know, completely unnatural if you think about it, because in nature nothing is completely perfect and everything varies. So let's see, we spread some lime over here. It goes up to 85. Hey. Good. Yeah, I'll tag back in when the field is finished, and then we can take a look at the yield map that is left behind. You can already start seeing it form on the mini-map in the left bottom corner. Good. The last pass of the field. So we harvested only 3,324 liters off of this field, which means the yield was really bad. You usually at least fill up one combine on this field, and this is our yield map, which is not good. You can test what areas had what yield. So 85% was on this side, 75 was in the middle, and even lower 70 was on that side, which is true to the numbers that were shown on the upper left corner. So it really does make a difference. You know, it really does. And I can also see that this worker has finished seeding. Can we see any tram lines? No. So I'm gonna pass a few days, months, so to speak, and I'm gonna see if the tram lines appear later on. Maybe they are just hidden in the soil, which would make sense, because if you drag these lines over the field, it will leave marks if there's seed in it or if there is no seed in it. So yeah. Okay, now another step in precision farming is this fertilizing stuff sensor. And this one is an active one. It actually senses the exact amount of nitrogen or the requirement for the crop that it's going over. So let's try how this works. There are two ways you can go about it, and I have chosen this one. I have just purchased this field and I haven't yet no values detected yet. Now, this might be because I have not yet purchased the soil information, and this is way too small for this tramline setup. No values detected. Okay, let's try it. What if I buy, to be in precision farming, what if I buy soil information? Will this work now? Usually it does. And it does not. Oh, it does. It does. Okay. So you have to have soil information in any case if you want to use these machines. And this sensor will distribute or sense the exact amount of nitrogen that the field needs, and it will be dispersed in this manner. So you can see how the nitrogen level changes on the mini map. Yeah, I have too small, too small a sprayer. Okay. I am using row crop tires, so I don't damage the crop, but otherwise, yeah, the rows are very neatly done. And again, they are all automatic. You simply set up when you're seeding and it makes everything happen. So this is one sensor, and there is another one. Do I need to activate it? No. There is another one, and this one is quote-unquote active, but there is an option to get a passive sensor that is built into the tractor. It costs money, of course, but on the other hand it does provide exactly what you need. And I think it's just a little bit less accurate than this one. Yeah, so cool, the tram lines. I love them. And this is how it looks from the inside. Beautiful. This is gonna make it much easier to use rather than when you had to simply guess where you're going all the time. Okay, well, this is another part, and if you, for example, want to get a tractor and you want to have that passive, you click here, Iceria Pro Compact, and it adds on the rear view mirrors, it adds the sensors. So it's probably different for each tractor. Let's see. This one has one on the roof also. Maybe the other one had one on the roof. Yeah. So you have two sensors on the mirror and you have one. Okay, let's try a mod. Works. Let's try maybe another mod. Iceria Pro Compact, yes. Okay, well, I guess it works. Some tractors don't have it, like this Landini. At least I didn't find it. Yeah, there's no Iceria Pro here. So this one can only use the attachment that I have here on the front. Which is fine, you know, it's just another way to do it. And have we covered everything? So we have covered soil types. We have covered pH levels. We have covered nitrogen levels. I have also deactivated the... Let me just show you. Yeah, I have started making rows of straw again. So I deactivated the chopping mechanism, and as you can see, it is darker red here than it is on the outside where I chopped straw. So this is just to show you that even if you don't actually collect the straw off the field, you get something in return. You are rewarded for not taking everything off the field. And the yield map, it depends on the soil type. Usually you can get it quite good up into the greens. And the seed rate, we have seen here the different seed rate. Now, the last thing to do is to get this oat sold. And since our overall environmental score is 55, we should get a bit of a bonus. You can see the overall farm score, the nitrogen is a bit lower than half, which is understandable because our nitrogen levels are horrendous. You can see everything is like orange red. This one's kind of good. Then you have Yeah, the pH value is a bit better than half. Weed control is still at half because there are no weeds yet. Soil sampling is maxed out, and tillage, there's nothing here because nothing happened. Okay, let's go and sell this crop. Right, so I am here at the harbor. I'm gonna dump this load of oat into the selling point. And judging by the score, we should get a little bit of a bonus. Not much, but a little bit. So it used to be that you get the base payment and then something added. And then you see $70 and environmental score reward on top of 4,288 harvest income. So once again, it really does pay to do your farming as best as you can for the environment, to do it as precise as you can, as the mod implies by precision farming. And it actually rewards you, or it punishes you for reckless behavior. So yeah, the verdict is I love this mod so much because it gives so much depth to the game and you can do so much with it. And there are also different ways that you can achieve a good environmental score and play your game as, how should I say, naturally as possible. As true to life. Yeah. So, this will conclude this presentation of the precision farming mod. Let me know what you think about it. As I've said, I love it very much. And this was just a basic review. You know, there are so many things that we could go in depth with. I might do it if there is interest from your side. But otherwise, yeah. Enjoy the game, and thank you all for watching. Take care and goodbye.